Fantastic. Welcome everybody to this month's market overview of Ambergris Caye, Belize. I am calling in today from Ambergris Caye, of course. It's been very balmy weather here, beautiful low 80s. The last week and a half, we've had quite a bit of wind, which I absolutely love because it keeps it feeling a little bit cooler than the normal 80s, but the weather is really quite fantastic. This month, we're coming up into March next month, we're going to be jumping into the spring break season. So the island over the last couple of months has just been really busy as tourism is picking up. And then as we jump into March, we do anticipate it to get even busier as we have families come down and students and whomever else are enjoying a warmer getaway here on Ambergris Caye. So with that, we're going to just jump right in. My name is Rachel Jensen. I am your host for today's session. I'm originally from New York, but made my way down to Ambergris Caye in 2012. I had a job opportunity working on the island of Ambergris Caye. Initially, I was living in Nicaragua, coming back and forth between Nicaragua and Belize, and decided Belize, specifically Ambergris, is where I wanted to call home. So it's where I've been since. I do have a real estate brokerage here called Luna Realty Belize. And then I also sit on the board for the real estate association here, BNAR. So I'm going to anticipate that the session will take about 30 to 40 minutes. And I'm going to do a quick overview of Ambergris Caye, give you 10 property opportunities right now. And then we have time for FAQs or Q&A from our live group here. This is going up on YouTube afterwards. So you will be able to have the chance to listen if you are over there busy taking notes, missing something, or you just want to see a replay down the line. I do want to note that we do have a lot of folks who tend to watch the webinars up on YouTube. And so for number 2 there, I did try to change out the property opportunities. There are still some from our January session that are available. I'm not going to highlight those again because you can find those in the past session, but I did highlight some that I think are really noteworthy. So Ambergris Caye is off the coast of Belize mainland. We are the largest key out of over 300 keys here in Belize. It's the one that most people tend to visit. About 70% of the tourism comes to Ambergris Caye at some point. And maybe they'll make their way to other parts of the country, but at least at some point, 70% of the tourists coming into the country are coming to Ambergris Caye. And it is an island, so you get here by boat, or you can get here by puddle jumper. If you're taking the boat, it's about an hour and a half from Belize City. If you're taking the puddle jumper, that's a small Cessna Caravan, it takes about 15 minutes to get here from Belize City. There are other ways that you can get to the island. You can take a boat from Chetumal, which is Mexico, just over the border over here. Or you can also take your own boat if you wanted to do that, or you can fly to different areas and then ultimately get there from Belize City. So I'm not going to go through Ambergris Caye in its entirety. I had a session previously on this. If anybody wants the link to it, feel free to reach out. The email address that you can use at any point for questions or for more information is info@Luna Realty Belize. Is there in the bottom left. Info@Luna Realty Belize. If you want to learn even more about the island, we go into the specifics like the population, the different neighborhoods, all of that fun information. And we'd love to get that over to you if you're just new to the island here. But just to give everybody a recap, so the island is about 26 miles long, and there is a bridge. I'm going to follow my cursor. There's a bridge right over here. Once you go over the bridge, then you're considered to be north. Once you are below the bridge, then you're considered to be in town, and then below town is south. So when you see destinations and you see their location, they may say like 3.5 miles north. And that doesn't mean 3.5 miles north from the bottom part of the island. It means 3.5 miles north of the bridge. So the bridge is really the focal point. San Pedro town is the primary town, tons of other neighborhoods on the island, but the bridge is really the focal point of and where people are basing the distance off of 3 miles north, 3 miles south. So just to give you some frame of reference there. But as you can see, San Pedro is really towards the southern part of the island. And then as you go up, you can go up about 20 miles before you hit the top part. I don't know if you can see it beyond my picture over there, but once you get to the northern part of the island, then there is a little cut. There's a little channel there that the Mayans built in 700 AD, which is pretty neat. And then Mexico is there on the other side. But when you're looking at the screen, and if I reference north, it's north of the bridge. If I mention south, it's really south of town. So just bear that in mind. Some exciting things that have happened over the past month. I'm going to actually jump to the bottom right one because we were just talking about the bridge. The second lane for the bridge open. So now there's a specific lane going north, a specific lane going south. For those of you who've been to the island before, you probably know that this is a huge deal. For those who haven't been, you probably might be wondering why we are so excited for it, but it just means that infrastructure here is improving and it is getting easier for people to be able to go north and south and be able to go in various directions. The next thing I want to point out is Carnival. So we did celebrate Carnival here. This is the same time as Mardi Gras that's happening. And there are about 3-4 days of celebrations. And each of the days they have like the paint party in the park. And so you can go and spray paint on each other. And there's live music and bands and the whole thing. It's a really great community thing that happens here on the island. And for those of you who are looking to relocate out here, being part of a community is probably something that's important to you. So you don't have to get painted on if you don't want to, but it's just a fun thing for, you have anyone from the little kids doing it to the grandparents who are doing it. So it's fun for all. I do want to note also that sargassum season has started. Sargassum is the seaweed that comes in from the Caribbean. It's happening all throughout the Caribbean here, but I do want to let folks know that it is a reality to living here on the island. San Pedro town, they've been putting in more preventative measures for it to stop reaching the beach. So it hits it prior in the water. And you can see here that they're putting some fencing in so that it doesn't hit the coastline over there. And also some resorts have also done that, right? They'll put that fence line in the water so that the seagrass doesn't come up to the beach, or not as much of it comes out to the beach. Each resort here or beachfront owner is responsible for cleaning the beach. So if you are somebody who is looking for a beachfront property or beachfront home, do note that there could be seagrass, and in most cases there will be, but it's just the reality of being here on the beach. I've had some people ask me how long it lasts for. Mother Nature, it totally depends on Mother Nature. Sometimes it's in and out, sometimes it lingers for a few months. So it really just depends on what Mother Nature is wanting for us. So let's just look at a quick recap of the number of visitors that have come to San Pedro. This is for 2022. So ending off the year, in our last session, we didn't have the numbers for November and December yet. So I just wanted to incorporate those in. Sorry, to screenshot quite right over here. But San Pedro, you can see they had the highest number of visitors at 116,000 for the year. I know that our January, it hasn't been published yet, but our January of 2023 has exceeded the number of visitors that we had in January 2019. So we're really excited to see that. That's specifically here for San Pedro. So it's been really exciting to see that. So, all right. And anybody can access these stats, BelizeTourismBoard.org, and then you /Belize-tourism/stats. Or statistics, but feel free to reach out to me for the link and I'm happy to get that over to you. All right, so coming in on occupancy rates, this is a question that I get asked all the time about when people who are looking at investment properties, what are occupancy rates? What's the average daily rate? So on Ambergris Caye, the average occupancy rate for 2022 was 37.1%. You can see it here in that little orange gold outline over here, 37.1%. And the only area that has exceeded that is Belize City. And that's probably to be expected because that is more of the business area. So when people are coming in for meetings or conferences or something along those lines, they'll tend to stay there in Belize City. But the number of occupancy or the occupancy rate there for the tourism areas, Ambergris Caye is the one there in the lead. So if you're somebody who's thinking about an investment, I know that you like to follow the numbers, go where the people are going. And although this isn't pre-COVID numbers yet, I do expect that it will get close to what pre-COVID was by the end of this year. All right, so let's just talk about the current market condition for a moment. The market is stabilizing. And I was on a radio show the other week and last weekend was explaining this to the host here, what's going on with the market. So 2020, 2021, 2022, it was just a wild boom for real estate all across the world, right? And I remember in March 2020, when they closed the airports here in Belize, and they said, nope, foreigners can't come in, nobody's coming in, everybody's just locking down. And I was like, who in the world is going to be buying real estate if they can't come see it? 2020, 2021, 2022 was the craziest 3 years I've had in the real estate industry. We had to triple our number of people in sales and marketing to really make sure that we were able to field the demand. I remember one day we had about 1,000 inquiries come in for a new development that was coming up. So it was just wild. It was not sustainable. At this point, I would say that the market has stabilized. So we're not getting that crazy sort of drive, where all of a sudden people are coming in and picking things left and right. And it's just a quick frenzy. The average time on the market is single family homes is about 6 to 12 months, right? So an average time for a single family home to be on the market is about 6 to 12 months. For a condo, anywhere from about 3 to 14 months is about right. And I don't have it on here, but commercial. So for a business, for example, you're looking anywhere from 12 to 24 months. So, when people are coming down and looking at real estate, you have some time with things, but when things are priced right, they're on the market for less time than this. We just had a condo that went under contract in 2 weeks. The seller had it priced fairly low. It was a fire sale, and he was also offering 60% financing. For those of you who've been on my sessions before, you know that 60% financing is rare. Usually it's about 50% financing that an owner will be willing to finance. So you do find opportunities like that come up and they go fairly quickly, but just generally average time you see there. This, we've talked about this in our previous sessions: location, location, location. And when things in the right location, when it's priced right, when there's nice advantage to it, it is going to sell quicker. There are more condos and single family homes on the market. That probably makes a lot of sense when you think about it, right? There are more condo developments here and total number of condos compared to number of single family homes. And when I was updating the session last week, as of Feb 2020, so last week, the average 2-bedroom condo. So this is not brand new construction, right? These are resales. I didn't include new developments or anything in this count. For resale condos of 2 bedrooms, there are about 59. At this point, there were 59 available for ownership, and the average price was $426,000 and $4. $426,004 for a 2-bedroom condo on the market. Now, it may have shifted a little bit since I got that. That's why I have the date there. But do note that if you're somebody who is thinking about that dream, $300,000 2-bedroom condo, unfortunately, that time on Ambergris Caye has passed. And so it's good to know that, right? You want to be practical with yourself, but just understand what the current market conditions are today. Single family home, you're looking at about $1 million plus on the beach, $1 million plus on the beach. And this is all in US dollars, by the way. Or if you're looking at a development or off beach community, typically about 400 plus. Has probably even gone up since as well, but about 400 plus. So just bear that in mind. If you're looking at home sites in town, 60 to about, I just saw one listed at 175,000 US, 60 to 175,000 US. Secret Beach, anywhere between 35 to 45 is about normal. If you're not on the water, there are a couple thousand lots in Secret Beach. So you are able to still find them fairly low, but just realize there's a lot more competition in there. So I think if you're looking at Secret Beach lots as a resale, there's probably room to negotiate with prices because there's just a lot of competition there. Beachfront, you're looking at about 400,000 plus easily. I know I had somebody reach out about a $200,000. They wanted a $200,000 lot in a prime location in town. It's just not happening. It's not happening. So if you have to be a little bit flexible on your wish list, do that. You still are able to find bayfront properties or lagoon front properties for $150,000, $200,000 if you want to be on the water. But if you want to be on the Caribbean, you're the Caribbean side or the reef side, you're not going to find anything within the town parameters for less than 400. But as you go north and south, right, as you go into areas where maybe they don't have the public utilities or where it's not easy to get there, maybe there's no road access, you can certainly find better deals. But this is just like in the town area, within, I'd say, 5 miles north and south. And then about 15 to 20% of sellers offer seller financing. And this is important because you need to be realistic too with what your budget is with and without financing. Understand that most sellers are not offering financing. So what you see as the listed price is cash. And Belize has been like that for decades. It's been a cash market for a long time. It's one of the reasons here that property has been fairly stable. When there was the recession in 2008 to 2012, it's not like a lot of people were defaulting in their foreclosures and all of that. So you just have to realize that. And one of the biggest asks I have from you is, if we are working together, do let me know if you need financing or not, because that will help us to find properties that best fit you. Some people want to be a little coy about it, and I get it. It's a taboo subject for sure. Someone asking you what's your budget, it's just like kind of cringy, right? But it's also really important as we are narrowing in on opportunities, because there's an extra layer in finding the seller financing opportunities for you. So just to bear that all in mind. And I have it here. All prices are in US dollars, and they will continue through the presentation to be in US dollars. So again, let's go back to that map. San Pedro town, the bridge. Once you get north of the bridge, you're south, then you're in town, then south of town, you're south, as you can tell there. And this is the area I showed you the bridge before and the other lane opened. So now we have one lane going north, one lane going south. And it just makes it so much easier for those of us that are commuting north and south. So I'm going to highlight a couple of new developments that are under construction. The first one here is Mangrove Bay. This is in Tres Cocos. This is the area that I refer to as Beverly Hills because it has a lot of the nicer single family homes. It's close to town, but yet it's further away, right? So you're not necessarily there in the craziness, but you're on the outskirts a little bit. 6 duplexes in total, 12 villas, 2-bed, 2.5 bath. This is at $495. I'm going to actually highlight one of the villas in here in this presentation because there's one that's being offered for 30-year financing. It has 30-year financing, which is unlike any other property I've seen here in the country. The second property that I want to mention is Clearwater. This is in Buena Vista, which is about 2 miles north of the bridge. And here, this is more of that boutique area where it's 14 condos in total, 12 villas. And these are high-end, super high-end 2-bed, 2.5 baths. Square footage is over 2,000 square feet. It's about 2,300 square feet. Just incredible views of the Caribbean. You have the 9 feet windows and these incredible glass doors that you're just looking right out into the azure water. So just a really, really stunning property. But in total, in that first building, about 14 condos and 2 villas. In addition to that, there's a Runa. This is happening a quarter mile west of San Pedro town, so just right across the lagoon. This one in phase 1 has 14 cottages, and those range from studio and 1 bedroom. These start at $199. The other development that's happening over there in that Costa del Sol area is Test Village. These are tiny homes that are being built over the water. There's one resale that's available now. I don't have it in this presentation, but if anybody is interested in it, I think I had in the January one, but if anyone's interested in it, please reach out to me. These are super unique. These are over the water. And there's a studio going for $215, but the other 19 are sold. And then 2 other developments I want to mention. Watermark, this is also in Tres Cocos, right over the bridge. There's 71 units here, studios to 3 bedrooms. Those start at $174. And then Turtle Cove, this is happening south of the Costa del Sol area in an area called Sunset Cove. And this is a larger development. This is at 366 keys, 2 to 4 bedrooms, and they started at a little over $500,000. And I wanted to point these out to you too, because some are under construction, some are finishing construction, some are pre-construction. And when you're thinking about your timelines, it's important to know where a project is at in that construction phase. You know, do you have to wait 6 months? You have to wait 2 years? You have to wait 5 years for the project to be complete? You know, why is the developer selling? Are they retaining any? That's one of the best questions I would ask is, are they retaining any? Are they picking up any for themselves? Because that really shows their belief in the project as well. But all right, let's jump into the top 10 opportunities right now. The first one here is for land banking. This is a buy and hold. I did a session on YouTube on land banking. If anybody wants a little bit more information about what's entailed in that, please feel free to reach out to me. I'll get you the details to that link to tune into it. But land banking is essentially when you hold on to land for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, however long you're going to hold on to it with the anticipation of flipping it down the line. And before I just did a session talking about this, actually, when you're looking at opportunity to land bank, you want to be looking for something that's different, that's unique in the marketplace. And what's different and unique? Properties that have waterfront views. And, you know, you can still find quite a few of properties that are in that $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 range, but they're not on the water. And so this property is located on, it's called Bracelet Caye. It's about 3 miles north of Secret Beach. You can see a little Secret Beach arrow there. The Ambergris Lagoon, this is one of the best areas for fly fishermen. And this area over here is one of the best flats that you do tend to find the fly fishermen are coming out. I would highly recommend picking up a lot or 2 if you have the ability to do so. The second row lots start at $45,000. These waterfront are $95,000, and the seller is willing to finance 30% for 2 lots or more. So just something to bear in mind as you are looking at your options. But I think this is one of the easiest ways to get involved on Ambergris, and there's just something different about it. Lot number 16 actually has water views as you're looking out there. And then these are staggered too, which is advantageous for the people who are in the second row. So you do continue to have the water views. And something I want to mention here is that when you're land banking, you know, you're thinking in the future. So if they don't have utilities right now, that's okay, right? You don't have to think about what it's going to cost to fill. That's not something that really is important when you're land banking. That'll get added later on to the buyer who will end up thinking about those sort of questions. But trying to own land right now that's waterfront, I think is one of the best plays that somebody can have when they're looking at investment property. All right, so for those of you who are new to our sessions here, I have 10 opportunities. I have them labeled by number here. So if there's anything that you want more information about, if you want info on number 1 or 3 or 5, whatever it is, just shoot me an email there, info@Luna Realty Belize. Sorry, let me move the cursor. Info@Luna Realty Belize. You see it there on the bottom left with just the number of the opportunity, and we can get you all of those details. So this is best for land banking at Bracelet Caye, starting at 45,000 and then going up to 95,000 for the waterfront lots. All right, the next one is the best deal under 200,000. This was actually just reduced a day ago, so I wanted to share it. It is a 1-bed, 1-bath in the Best Western Grand Bayman, and it was originally priced at 128. It has now been reduced to 120, and the seller is willing to offer up to 60% financing if you are somebody who is looking for putting less down and then having more flexibility when it comes to the financing. It's located on the first floor. It's 412 square feet, and it's located half a mile south of town. What I really like about this property is that it's close to town. It's not meant to be a luxury property, right? This is the Best Western, it's 3-star. But if you're an investor or you're just looking for somebody who is looking to have land or have a property on Ambergris Caye, this is, I think, one of the best and most affordable ways to get your feet wet, right? And if you want to put it in the Best Western rental program, you can do that. And if you want to come live in it, you can do it. If you want to come down here for 6 months, or come and go as you please, you can do that too. So there's flexibility with this, but this is, I think, is one of the best ones when it comes to owning within a branded development and having that financing. Again, if you're interested, feel free to email me, info@Luna Realty. I saw someone's hand go up, so I just wanted to mention it. Email me, info@lunarealtybelize.com with the number, and we'll get you all of those details. The third option I want to share with you, this is new to the marketplace. It's called San Pablo Villas. It's located in a more local part of town called San Pablo. And in San Pablo, you do tend to find expats who don't necessarily need to have that beachfront living. Maybe they're on a little bit more of a budget and maybe they're looking for a nice, comfortable place, but they don't necessarily want to be spending the beachfront or close to beachfront prices. So this one, it is about 5-6 minutes from the water, but it's located within San Pablo, which is down south, about 1.5 miles south of the downtown area. This one is a 2-bed, 1-bath, and it's quite petite at 445 square feet, but they were able to get a washer and dryer in there as well. So this would be a great option for somebody who's looking to maybe put it in the long-term rental market, or perhaps you just want to have a place that you can come and go to over time. But you can see it is compact. It does have the ACs. It does have that kitchen there. So it does have what you need. But if you don't need tons of space, this would be a great option for you. And it is the two baths. And they do have first, second, and third floor available. Third floor jumps up to 140, but first floor, they start at 120. All right, number 4 here. A lot of times I'm getting people sending messages about wanting that 2-bedroom, like for $300,000 on the beach. It's very, very difficult to find that. But there are 2 that are under 400,000 that I do want to mention to you. And I've been through both of them. And I do think that these are real steals in the marketplace right now. This one is in town. It's in the area called Boca del Rio, which is just north of the heart of the downtown area, but it's still south of the bridge. And so this, you are walking right out to the beach. Follow my cursor. It's this unit right over here, the corner one. So you look right out and you have direct Caribbean views right there. And then you can walk right out of this gate and be on the beach in just 10 seconds, right? Or you can be down the road and checking out the different restaurants and whatnot that's down there. So I think it's one of the best locations. It was lived in full time by the current owner. So there are some personal touches to it, which I think sometimes may be hard for people to see past. But you can always redo it to be what you want it to be. All of the furniture is included, but you can always remodel it, really have it be what you want it to be if you desire that. But this one's going for $360, 2-bed, 1-bath. HOA is $300 a month. But this, I think, is one of the cutest ones I've seen by far. And I think one that's some of the best value. The other one, the other 2-bedroom that I found, this is over the bridge. This is about 4 miles north at Residences at Barrier Reef. This is a 2-bed, 1-bath. But this one is on the corner. You can see the view from the balcony. The balcony is huge. Like when we had our tour here the other month, we had probably about 15, 20 people on the balcony, and there was still some space. So it was nice just to see the size of the balcony, right? And to have that for you and whomever you're going to be spending time there with. It's just really quite beautiful. But you look right out, you see the Caribbean, you see the reef right there. And the one thing I do want to mention, though, and I didn't put a picture of that in here, but I can share it with anybody who's interested, is the second bedroom is really more ideal, I would say, for an office or like a den, right? It does have a window out, so it can technically be considered a bedroom by, US NAR standards, but it is, I think, ideal for an office, right? You can put a futon in there or something along those lines, but it is a little bit smaller, but I think it would be great for somebody who's maybe looking to live here in Belize, work from home, or perhaps maybe they don't really need 2 bedrooms, but they can have an option there if a friend comes and visits. That's how I would look at that second bedroom. This one's going for $350 at Residences at Barrier Reef. It's about 3 miles north of the bridge. It takes about 18 minutes from the bridge to get here by golf cart. I live in this area up here. It's wonderfully quiet, which I really appreciate, and do like the location of it. I think that's one of the big highlights of this property here. Number 6, this is the property I was talking about before, one of the new developments, Mangrove Bay, specifically on villa number 2. So there's 6 duplexes, 12 villas in total. Number 1 and number 2. Number 1 sold to one of our clients. Number 2 is connecting to it, right? It's a duplex. And the developer offered special financing for our client who's in number 1. And so he said that he would do the same thing for a client who's in villa number 2. And it's a 30-year term. So 50% down, a 30-year term. It's 8% interest. It comes out to about $1,800 a month. And this is one of the best financing deals that I have found here on Ambergris Caye, especially for this project. It is under construction now. The owner's coming down in April to look at the different options for her customizations. And so this duplex is getting built. This villa is getting built at the same time, number 2. So if you're looking for something, I would say by June, July, August, this will be ready for you here. But what really makes this one unique, and why I put that it's the most unique 2-bedroom that I found, is because there's a boat slip under each of the homes. Do note that this rendering here really is more of an artistic rendering. Instead of the homes being horizontal like that, they come out vertical, and there's 1 boat slip under each home instead of 2. There's also a carport there, a carport for those of us who have golf carts here, that you'll have there too. This is really good artistic, but just so you can see the concept of it, it's modern, huge windows. This one overlooks the lagoon, which has the sunset as well. And I think that this is just a spectacular property located in that area called Tres Cocos, which I was referring to before as the Beverly Hills of Ambergris Caye. It's just a really beautiful spot, incredible sunsets right there from the balconies as well. All right, number 7 here. This is a 2-bedroom that came up recently at a property called Grand Caraïbe. Grand Caraïbe is a really beautifully and very well done complex here. You can see some pictures on the left-hand side of the complex. It's not really common to find resales in this community, so I wanted to share this one with you. It is a 2-bed, 2-bath. It's $580,000. There is no financing on this one, so just want to note that this is a cash deal, and it's located there on the ground floor. From your balcony, you're able to walk out to the pool. There's also the Caribbean views there. It's a really stunning property, and where the location is of this one is not in the picture, but if you can follow my cursor, it's like this. This is like a horseshoe, right? So the condos go around. It's like a horseshoe, so it's over in this area over here. Just a very beautiful, well done property. This one's going for $580, 2-bed, 2-bath, and you do have those Caribbean views and the pool views as well. This one's it's just stunning, but it's not really common, like I mentioned, to have resales come up here. So it is one I wanted to point out to you. That's number 7. All right, number 8, if you're somebody who's looking to get involved a little bit more, right? You want to come down and have a bit of a project, or you see that there's opportunity to make some money on a flip, this would be a great option for you. It is in an area called Royal Palm, a community called Royal Palm. It's been there since the 80s. This model has not been flipped. There are others within the community that have been rehabbed, and we're selling for about $60,000 more than the price tag that you see here. This would actually even just reduce to $195. So I had it here as $199, but I just checked the website before coming onto our session, and it got reduced to $195. So do note that it's 1.5 miles south of town, and there's a water view. It's not directly Caribbean front, but there is a water view from this condo as well. Great bones in this community, great bones of the building, but the interior, as you can tell, definitely just needs a little bit of love. And that has been happening within the community, and the resale price has been up about $60,000 for it. All right, number 9, we're nearing the end of our top 10 here. Number 9, best value for a beachfront single family. So I went into this one last week. It was really just impressed with it and wanted to share it with everybody because it is less than that $1 million mark that I shared with you. You know, usually beachfront single family homes are about $1 million plus here, but this is a 3-bed, 3-bath, and there's a caretaker's unit as well. What I really liked about this was the rooftop space that you can see here. And there is a water hookup and electric hookup. So you can do a wet bar or something up there, but you can add palapa for shade or sails and just make it really customizing the space. But this is a new home. They finished construction last year in 2022. Unfortunately, the owner was not able to fulfill her dream of living here in Belize. So she is selling it, but I think it's perfect for an Airbnb. If you're somebody who's thinking outside the box a little bit more, maybe you don't want to be in a traditional condo building, this would be a great option for an Airbnb, or you're just your personal usage. I think it's laid out very well. It just has a really modern, nice feel to it. And there is the pool there, and it is located on the beach. So for those of you who are looking for something a little bit more modern and beachfront, this could be a great option for you. And then last but not least, this is great for developers. If you or somebody you know is a developer and is looking for property in a prime space here on Ambergris Caye, this is it. It's 6 acres, 2.5 miles north of the bridge on the paved road. It has public electricity already. There's a restaurant on site, dock, 3 rental cabanas rather, and tons of space for a developer to come in and really customize it to have it be what they want to be developing in that space. And probably one of the best locations on the island here because you are north of the bridge and you do have the road there. I say one of the best locations, especially for this size of land. You know, in order to find 6 acres on the water, you have to really, I don't even know if you can find it anymore as you go north or south. So it's real unique in that sense, but real winner when it comes to a large tract of land within town. So I'm going to just go back for a minute and recap, just so that if you were interested in any of these, you just jot down the numbers, email me info@Luna Realty Belize. Number 1, best for land banking. Number 2, best deals under 200,000, which was Grand Bayman Best Western for 120,000. The third one under 200,000 is the San Pablo Villas starting at 120,000. The next is the 2-bedroom in town at Oasis del Caribe for 360,000. Number 5 here is the residences at Barrier Reef, 2-bed, 1-bath for 350,000. Most unique 2-bedroom Mangrove Bay, specifically villa number 2. That's the one that they're offering the financing on. That's option number 6. Option number 7 is Grand Caribe, 2-bed, 2-bath for 580. That's number 7. Number 8 is for those of you who are looking to rehab or flip, 2-bed, 1-bath, 1,000 square feet under 200,000. This is the one I mentioned to you. There's the price reduction on it for 195. 9, best value for single family beachfront, 3 for 985. And the one best for developers, this is 6 acres going for 7 mil. So with that, I have a quick poll for you. What I'm going to ask you to do is find that Q&A section of the control panel and just type in the letter there of when you're looking to own. Is it within the next 30 days, 1 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, 6 months to a year, or 1 year or more? Find that Q&A section, type in the letter that's associated with it. I'm just curious because sometimes we get people who are like, oh yeah, we've been here 10 times and we're ready to buy something now. And then sometimes we get people who are like, I've actually never been down to the country before and I'm just starting my research. So we just want to make sure that we're sending you information that's relevant to you at the time that's relevant for you. If you're telling me you're looking in 3 years, I don't want to tell you like that, you need to look at this opportunity right now because it's just coming up, blah, blah, blah. I want to give you the time and respect the time that you need in order to look at the opportunities. All right, so I'm seeing here, we're looking at a lot of folks 6 months to a year. Okay, awesome. And then a couple actually within the next 60 days rather. Awesome. Okay, cool. Well, I am happy to see that and that people are doing their research, because what I found is if you start looking at opportunities and you're trying to rush it, sometimes you miss things and you're not able to find, them when you're rushing. So for those of you who are here looking in the next 30 days or a few months, we're of course happy to help. And then for those of you who are down the line as well, one of our main goals at Luna is just education. I think for me, when I was coming into this space and buying property personally, I just had no idea like what the process looked like, right? So it took a couple of times of doing it to actually understand it. We've synthesized all of the information into different resource guides for you all to be able to learn and make sure that you're kept up to date. So we do have a couple of upcoming webinars. These are live. If you're listening on YouTube, maybe they've happened, maybe they haven't. If they haven't yet, feel free to reach out. And you can see there, lunarealtybelize.com/webinars. That's where we keep a list of all the sessions. But specifically this Friday, we're going to be talking about land banking. On next Friday, we're going to be talking about the Aruna project construction update. We do monthly developer updates there. And then last for the month is going to be March 30th. If you're Canadian, then we have partnered with a Canadian mortgage broker, and he can help you finance your property and get great exchange rates. So if you're not Canadian, I apologize. It's probably not as pertinent to you, but for those of you who are, I do make sure that you register for that one. You go to lunarealtybelize.com/webinars in order to register, and you will be good to go. So if you have any questions, this would be a great time for you to ask that. Otherwise, if you have a specific property that you had in mind, please do feel free to reach out to us. We can get those details over to you. I will send out a copy of this via email to all of those who are on our live session. And then if anybody heard anything during the YouTube listening, feel free to reach out as well. And we would love to get you helped. All right, so I'm seeing here, does anybody have any questions that they would like for us to answer for you? We want to make sure that we're able to answer those live while we're all here together. Otherwise, you're able to just reach out, info@lunarealtybelize.com. I do see a question here that's coming in about the purchasing process. What does the purchase process look like in Belize? Okay, that's a great question. So typically, I'm going to explain it very generally, and this is really pertaining to like a resale property, right? So any of the ones that we saw here where it's, let's say, Grand Crebe, for example, that 2-bed, 2-bath for $580. So what happens is you'll be working with your real estate agent and you'll put in an offer. Your real estate agent will send that offer letter to the seller's agent. And then if the seller accepts, then both parties will be countersigning it. If the other party, the seller is deciding to counter, then they'll go back and counter a little bit until they get to an offer that they agree upon. And that agreement is usually completed within 48 hours. It's a very quick process, right? It's not lingering on it and waiting and seeing if it's something better comes along. It's you accept it or you don't accept it. It's usually within 48 hours. Once it's accepted, when both parties countersign, then the buyer will put down a 10% deposit in escrow. And at that point, the closing attorney is introduced to the buyer and then the seller, so that all the due diligence documents come together, and the attorney will send information for that 10% deposit to be sent to escrow. And then they'll typically have the closing date about 2 months after that offer to purchase is completed. And during that 2-month period, they're doing a few things. One is they're doing a due diligence check. So they're making sure that the property is clear, right? That the title is clear, that there's no liens or encumbrances on it, right? So that's one of the big ones. The second is they're doing an inspection, right? And that's if it's a condo or a home, they're doing an inspection. And then if there's anything major that comes up, then that's usually discussed between both agents to decide what will be fixed and what won't. And then that'll be communicated to the buyer. And then if it's a piece of property where it's an undeveloped parcel, then there's typically a land survey that's done, because you want to know exactly, where the 4 corners are of your lot. And then in addition to that, if you're owning in a condo, then you'll typically get the bylaws and the rental management agreement, go through it, make sure it all looks good. So it really happens over about a 2-month period. Sometimes it's a little bit more, sometimes a little bit less. It really just depends on how fast everyone's moving that due diligence process along. So I have that all written out. I'm sorry if that was a little bit hard to follow. I do have it all written out. Feel free to reach out to me there. The email address is there if you want to get a copy of it and whatnot. And I just saw somebody asking here how to register for the upcoming webinars. I'm going to just go back for a minute. So down here, there's lunarealtybelize.com/webinars. And then you'll see a list of all of our webinars coming up. You can just click the links to get registered. If you'd like us to email you the link as well, we can certainly do that. And I think you all probably have the email address at this point. All right, and that's all I'm seeing coming through from our live audience. So I thought it'd be about 40 minutes, and I think we're just about wrapping up on that 40-minute mark. So I want to say thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Hope you're having a fantastic morning, evening, afternoon, depending on what time you're listening to this and where in the world you are. And I look forward to meeting you here in Belize at some point soon. Bye, everyone.